Hey everyone, it is week 2 of the Lucas and Lee podcast.
Yes, this is what we're getting down to today. We have a lot of great topics. It's been an interesting week. First and foremost, I just got to say I'm wearing this to combat all the Smurf blue that's all over the city right now.
I'm wearing this because since my beloved Florida Gators are on a bye week, that means they won't lose this week.
Yes. Go Yankees, by the way. I'm putting that out there. The Yankees win game 1. Garrett Cole's pitching today, so I think they win. But let's get to the real stuff right here. There's an epidemic going on in this country on dating apps, and it is unacceptable. It is bad dating app behavior.
If I had $1 for every instance of bad dating app behavior, I could literally buy a small Caribbean nation.
Yes, you could. Now, I don't know who's worse, because I have gripes with both the men and the women on the dating apps, because both don't know how to handle themselves, and it actually is making it really hard for quality men. I think women, it's a lot easier, maybe a little annoying because they're getting so much response, but good men have a hard time finding a woman on a dating app because of all the idiot men out there.
Well, yeah, and look, I would like to think I'm a decent guy.
But you're a very good guy, very good guy. I mean, you got a good career, very successful, college graduate. I mean, a law degree and everything,
Look at his face for crying out loud. But I think people just don't, especially since it's very faceless. I mean, you're not in person. You just have, if you don't want to deal with anyone anymore, you could just swipe left and delete them and whatnot. But the way people are treated, and I'll just use a few examples on my end. There was one person I was chatting with. First red flag is she was from Fresno.
Yep.
Massive red flag.
Yeah.
But we were chit-chatting, and she was a couple years older than me. Second red flag is when she told me she had a lot of fun the weekend prior because she met up with her kids at the same bar.
And I said, that's very Fresno.
Fresno. That is very Fresno. Yeah. But I was like, oh, I'm sorry, that must have been awkward. And she was like, oh, no, we planned it that way. That should have been red flag 2 and 3 right there.
Don't hang out with your kids. Don't hang out with your kids at bars.
Bars. No. That's such a bad idea. But that being said, I was like, hey, let's get together. So we were going to have lunch on a Sunday.
Okay, sounds like a good deal.
Even set the time and the location. And I was texting her, the day before, hey, just trying to confirm whatnot. Didn't hear anything. I'm like, okay, maybe she's out and about or not friends. The very next morning, hey, getting ready to go, just want to make sure we're good. Didn't hear anything. Did not hear anything. So I'm like, I'm not going to drive down to Fresno.
No, hell no.
I hear back from her 6 o'clock that night. So allegedly, she left her phone in the Uber. Left her phone in the Uber and didn't get it back until that morning. Yeah. That is lies. That is code word for I was probably really hungover.
Yeah, it's lies. And this is the issue I have with women on dating apps. So I'm going to get to the men and bash them in a second. But first I'm going to start bashing the women. Because what it is, if you're a guy, and I'm not saying this is you, but if you're a guy and you're average on a dating app, you have zero chance. Zero chance. Women want somebody who's 6'1" or bigger. They want somebody that's making at least $100,000 a year. In California, it has to be more than $150,000 a year, or they ignore you. And these aren't 10s. These aren't women that are 10s that are doing this. These are women that are 5s. So women that are 5s out there are being like, no, to all these guys who actually are pretty good guys. They're just not that good looking. And the issue I have with men, and now I'm going to bash the men, is men are throwing themselves at 5s or 4s or 3s or 2s or 1s and making them look like they're 10s. And you can't do that. You can't be so hung up on finding somebody that you sit there and go, oh my gosh, you're gorgeous, you're gorgeous, you're gorgeous. I love you, I love you, I love you. Because then the girl gets a huge ego, and then it screws up the dating pool. So you're screwed either way. But these desperate men are making it hard for everybody else.
I think part of the problem, look, we are a very much, a society where we all need to be validated. And I think part of the problem and this is what I get with a lot of women, and I'm sure a lot of guys do it as well. So I'm not just bashing just one or the other.
We're bashing everybody.
We're bashing everybody, just to make very clear. But I think on these dating apps, especially, I will use Bumble for an example, where you swipe on the woman and she has to swipe back for you to
Talk to her,
For
right?
you to talk to her.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women will be like, because it's happened to me a ton of times, the amount of people that I've matched with on Bumble, and then I never hear from them, like neither hide nor hair.
They didn't even send a message or anything.
No message.
Like you guys matched. You both liked each other.
Yeah,
And they never message you.
on Bumble and Hinge. Is I mean, it's got to be over 75%, and I just think there are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of women, probably a lot of men that, I think this guy's cute. It looks like he has his stuff together. We matched. I now feel better about myself.
Oh yeah.
That he was interested in me. Yeah. So now I can go about my daily life. So
yeah, absolutely. It's definitely for validation on both sides, but I will say it's very difficult for men to find dates on dating apps right now. And I know it's annoying for women because there are a lot of guys out there that aren't like you. We have a lot of beta males out there that don't know how to talk to women, and they screw it up for everybody. It's the hey baby, how you doing baby, hey. You can't talk to women like that, and there's a lot of men that are doing that.
And look, I've talked to a lot of women that like almost assumed I was going to try to send them a dick pic within the first 3 back and forth responses. I'm like, no, that's saved for Snapchat, so it disappears in
exactly
24 hours.
Yeah. You don't. So here's the deal, man. Do not send dick pics ever. I actually had a girl one time ask for one. I still won't send it because I am worried it will wind up somewhere. Even if I don't, I don't ever want to take that chance. Unless we're having sex, you're not going to see my dick. Sorry. Not that you want to, but you're not going to. If you have, no. If my dick is on social media, it's not my dick. Don't believe it, because I don't send my dick pics to anybody.
Sending dick pics to anyone you are not in a committed relationship with, and I can't believe that this podcast has now gone to talking about dick pics.
I know,
but that's just a bad idea, man. It is
just,
if it's your wife, it's the middle of the day, feeling a little spicy, or it's your girlfriend, hey, fantastic, knock yourself out. But if it's some female you've been talking to for like 5 days, just take a time out, go in the corner, and let's rethink the thought process here.
Yes. I mean, the most important thing when you're dating is what do you bring to the table? And, you bring a lot to the table.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, you have a nice house. You're a very nice person. You're a very giving person. The thing is that both people, men and women, have to bring something to the table. I know a lot of women will come out there and say, well, what do you bring to the table? And then, like, okay, cool, this is what I bring. I bring a house. I'm a successful person. But a lot of women get angry if you were to say, well, what do you bring to the table?
I think the whole what do you bring to the table, especially among men, I think is very mired in kind of old world thinking. It's like, well, I look at my nice car and look at how many vacations we get to go on.
Look at my savings.
Yeah. I'm a 6'5" finance bro.
Yeah.
I really think what you bring to the table is at least to me in the successful relationships I have had, it's what character and personality traits do you bring to the table to be able to make the relationship successful. And I will use, once again, I'm going to use my marriage to my ex-wife as a prime example, because like we were talking about last week, look, for 2 years, that was like almost the picture perfect relationship.
I remember how happy you were.
Yeah, it was great. It was great for 2 years. And at least what I brought to the table is, you got to bring a little bit of humility. I think sometimes men get very caught up in, well, I'm the protector and I'm the breadwinner.
Toxic masculinity.
The very toxic masculinity. I have no problem saying that my ex-wife was the breadwinner. Look, I do well for myself, but she was the major breadwinner in our family. She was an executive at Facebook. She got the salary plus stock options. Whatever I made was basically playing around money. And I was okay with that. I was 100% okay with that. I was secure enough in my masculinity to be like, look, I am going to support my then girlfriend, future wife. I'm going to support her in what she's doing because she's a very successful professional, and I think that should be celebrated. And I think not enough men bring that to relationships these days, and I think that's why a lot of relationships end, because you have very successful women out there that either earnings-wise or title-wise eclipse their male partner, and the male partner gets all butthurt. He gets all in his feelings, and it erodes instead of celebrating the fact that your partner is doing well. And that's what a partnership and a relationship is supposed to be. Two people who are, if one person is doing amazing, the other one celebrates that and backs them up.
But that's not the case for most. And I will tell you this, they've looked at and surveyed, and obviously polls are polls, but the loneliest adults in America are women over 40 that make over $100,000 a year. Single women over 40 that make over $100,000 a year, because their dating pool is so small, because most men will not date a woman who makes more money than them.
It's
making over $100,000.
It is, it's almost
that's most, yeah.
It's almost like trying to find a needle in a haystack, because I can only imagine that a lot of women in those situations are going to run into two types of guys who can't handle the fact that they're successful and making more money than them, and guys who are looking for a sugar mama.
Yeah, a sugar mama. And then, but then also you have people that make a lot of money. As you know, you hang out with a lot of people that are millionaires, and maybe even a couple of billionaires. I mean, we know people that are very successful. Those are very difficult men. They're not usually easy men to get along with.
No, they are what we would describe a lot.
Yeah, they're very much a lot. So when you're a woman over 40, single, and you're looking to find a guy who makes more money than you, because you are worried about somebody looking for a sugar mom or whatever, then you run into these difficult personalities, and that's not good for a relationship.
And, look, honestly, to me, it never... How much money someone makes has never, ever gone to the equation of whether I was interested in someone.
And I think you're one of the rare people. I think that's rare.
I never, at no point do I ever ask, how much do you make, what's your bank account, et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot of other factors that go into it. Are you college educated? Not because I'm a snob, but, you're looking at someone who has 2 college degrees. You need to be able to have a partner that you can discuss things with, that you can have a conversation about things with, and that's usually a pretty good barometer. Not always, but a pretty good barometer. If they're college educated, someone you can have a conversation with. But it's, are they college educated? How do they treat people they don't know? How do they treat the wait staff at a restaurant?
That's a good indication too.
How appreciative are they when you do something nice for them, and vice versa? How appreciative am I when they do something nice for me? So there's a lot of factors to go into whether I'm interested in you or not. Come on, Lucas, you know me. I'm, a lot of times loosey-goosey goofy.
Yeah.
And I don't do well with ice queens, as we learned last year, disastrously. But never at any time have I said, you make X amount of money, you don't, I'm out. And I think anytime money gets involved, it just ruins everything.
Money always ruins everything.
It really, when money is the number one factor in anything, it just ruins it. Look, I own a women's soccer team. That thing don't make any money. In fact, I lose money hand over fist on that thing. I don't care. I love it. It's something I am doing to give back to the community. I think it's fantastic. I think I'm helping to give a group of women who had to have an opportunity to move up that professional ladder and to achieve their dreams of being a professional soccer player. And it's something the community of Stockton can be proud of. But at no point did I find, when I thought I'm going to start a women's soccer team, at no point was it like, oh, I'm going to make money hand over fist and be a billionaire. Nope. I went into it knowing I was going to lose money. Money was not the first ulterior motive. It was, what's this going to do for the community? What's this going to do for the people that we're given an opportunity to? That's why I started. And, transfer that over to relationships. If you go into a relationship thinking, oh, I've got me a sugar daddy or a sugar mama, hold your breath, don't hold your breath, because that relationship ain't going to last.
Well, I will say this, though. It is a minor flex when you walk around and say, I own a sports team. It's a pretty big flex right there. That's a minor. I'd say more than a minor flex. That's a mid to large flex. I own a sports team.
It is a little bit of a flex. Go Stockton Cargo.
Yes, go Stockton Cargo. So, what do you think is the biggest difference between thirsty and hungry?
Oh boy,
Because there's people that are thirsty and there's people that are hungry. There's a fine
traps.
line. What's the biggest difference?
I think the difference is if you see a photo of someone who's super thirsty on Instagram and it literally screams thirsty. It's almost like, look, I believe it or not, I actually did pay some attention in law school, and the Supreme Court case dealing with pornography, which we were talking about last week, pornography, but the Supreme Court case dealing with pornography, Justice Black famously said, I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. And same thing with being thirsty. You cannot define it. I can't tell you if A, B, C, or D happens that person is thirsty, but when you see it, you know it. And Lucas, there's someone that you and I both know that is on the gram. And how many times do I send their Instagram photos to you and Corey Peterson?
Yeah.
Yes, Corey Peterson. We mentioned you on our podcast.
Again,
you can be happy now. You can be happy now. But I send the Instagram post to you guys, and I'm like, this is the thirstiest person in America.
Yeah, did you believe that, or you just say that? Do you think that's the most thirsty person you've seen on?
That is the most thirstiest person I have seen on the gram, and I've seen a lot of thirsty people on the gram. And that is straight up the thirstiest person on the gram, and it really is. It's a post that either says outright or gives the aura, oh, look at me. Oh, I can't find a husband. I can't find a man. Look at me. Look at me. And this individual's posts, don't just scream it. It's like the post reaches out and slaps you across the face and says, I'm thirsty.
So would you consider, I don't know if you follow Madonna on Instagram. Madonna is famous for being naked. How old is she? She's in her 60s, right?
She's in her 60s.
Yeah, she's famous for being naked. Like the other day, she was naked eating soup. Is that thirst or is that sexy?
That's thirst. That is thirst for Instagram clicks. Okay, and I'll be perfectly honest. The last time I was following Madonna, she was singing "Beautiful Stranger" for the Austin Powers soundtrack.
1999.
1999.
Look at that. Look at that. Yeah.
But that, to me, what you just described, I haven't seen the post, but what you just described says, I am thirsty for engagement. I am thirsty for Instagram clicks. I am thirsty to stay relevant.
So what would be thirst for a man? Because that's thirst for a woman, like showing off your body. What would be thirst for a man?
I think some dude parading around in like a really expensive car that, he may or may not have just rented for the day. Mr. Look at me, I'm at CrossFit. No offense, CrossFit people. No offense, CrossFit people. But the dudes who do the gym bro.
I see a lot of that. I can be that once in a while. I can be a gym bro once in a while.
Gym bro pics, and then if you're a tech bro taking a selfie in a Patagonia zip up vest with your cell phone up, looking like you're on some important call. That, my friend, is tech bro thirsty.
So thirst is a negative, but hunger and hungry is a positive, right?
I think hungry is how you put yourself out there. If you are confident, not cocky, confident. If you're confident, if you're going about doing your business and being your person, but also letting people know, especially if you're interested in them, that hey, I am available, emotionally available. Whatever, I think that's being hungry, putting yourself out there to say I am ready for a serious relationship. That is being hungry. Vis-a-vis me taking a picture in front of a Maserati with my aviators on, saying, "Oh, look at me." Now I will admit, there are a lot of times I do take selfies in front of mirrors with my aviators on, but everyone knows I'm being super facetious because the tagline on the post is usually, I'm really, really, really ridiculously good looking. As Zoolander would famously say. That's just me being goofy. But guys who do that being serious, like this is going to attract someone, that's being thirsty.
So it's been said that the number one dating app is Instagram. Do you believe that? Because there's more dates supposedly on Instagram than there is on anything else.
Well, I can see that because I can see people trying to slide into DMs. Usually I get someone from Nigeria saying they're a prince trying to slide into my DMs. But yeah, I can totally see the gram and some guy trying to slide into some girls' DMs and vice versa. Some girl trying to slide into some guy's DMs saying, "Ooh, hey, you're the shit. I think we should get together."
It definitely doesn't happen that often for men, though. I think that a woman who is a 3 or a 4 can get more response in a week than a guy who is a 9 gets in a year.
No, I think you're probably 100% correct. And honestly, I really wish we could go back to the days of where a guy could just say, "How you doing?
How you doing? How you doing?" Well, there are some people who aren't doing too good right now. It's a Friday. Who had the worst week ever this week?
That would be you, Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
Which how do you feel? Because I've had many discussions with this. How do you feel about the crowd in Cleveland cheering Deshaun Watson after he got injured?
It's called karma. It's called karma. This is a guy who, to be legally safe, will say allegedly raped over 20 women.
Yes, over 20. 20 massage
over
therapists.
20! Yeah. And settled out of court with pretty much all of them, by the way. So, yeah, it's called karma. Sorry, Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry you blew out your ACL. No, I'm actually not really sorry. It is called karma, and it comes back to bite you in the ass 10 times out of 10.
So what I will say, because this is what I said about the booing, because I actually thought Winston, who was bashing the people who booed Deshaun Watson, I thought he was out of line for that. That's my opinion.
Is this the same Jameis Winston who went to FSU, also known as Free Shoe U?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was stealing things. He's been in trouble before, so he was standing up.
Crab legs.
Stealing
crab legs.
Crab legs. So my problem with him bashing the fans is, first of all, in my opinion, I'm a season ticket holder for the San Francisco Giants. You're a season ticket holder for the Giants. You also are basically a season ticket holder for the Florida Gators as well. When you pay for your ticket, provided you don't cuss, provided you don't throw stuff on the field, you have a right to boo or cheer. When you are accused of raping over 20 women, and then you get, I think at the time, the largest contract in NFL history.
He was gifted in probably the dumbest sports contract move of all time. The largest contract in NFL history. And so when you're given a contract that big, you got to produce.
Yeah.
And when you're a horrible human being, which, let's be very clear, Deshaun Watson is an absolutely horrible human being, and you get hurt while you're performing badly, mind you. I mean, honestly, look, I can't raise my right arm above my head, and I could probably complete more passes than Deshaun Watson could this year.
Yeah.
So fans are going to boo. And you know what, Jameis Winston? You just need to be quiet and be happy you're the starting quarterback now.
Oh, my word. Because we got to go neck and neck with Watson and Winston. Because Winston's comment was Deshaun Watson put his life on the line for the city of Cleveland.
No. You're not putting your life on the line for the city of Cleveland. Are you a firefighter?
Yeah.
Are you a police officer? Do you have to face bad people with guns on a daily basis? No, you are a mid-quarterback behind a horrible offensive line for an NFL football team being paid more money than most third-world nations make in a year. So no, you're not putting your life on the line for the city of Cleveland. You got hurt. It was going to happen to you anyway because you're a horrible human. Say hello to karma.
Well, we do have good news here. Your birthday week is coming up.
I do turn 29 plus 20 on Monday, the 28th.
Yeah, this is a big week.
Big week.
We have a big birthday plan for you. It's going to be
we will be in a suite at the Sacramento Kings versus Portland Trailblazers.
So we want to do a little elite trivia here for since you basically grew up in the 80s.
I am a child of the 80s. I want my MTV.
Okay, so the first question is favorite 80s one-hit wonder.
It's gotta be Something About You by Level 42.
Something about you. Yeah, that's the jam
Baby,
right there.
it's so right.
How about the favorite 80s power ballad love song?
It's gotta be Amanda by Boston.
Oh, it's a great one. That's a
That is
surprise.
a great one. Oh, it's
That's,
so
that's
fantastic.
a perfect thing I'd expect from a hopeless romantic.
That is so fantastic.
Give us a few bars of that. That's a hard song to sing.
That is. I'm just. And I was singing it earlier. Gonna take you by the hand and make you realize, Amanda.
What's your favorite 80s movie?
Oh, it's got to be Rocky IV, because not only does Rocky win at the very end, Rocky, representing Western freedom and democracy, defeats Ivan Drago, representing Eastern totalitarianism and imperialism, and at the very end makes a plea for world peace and nuclear disarmament.
Heck yeah, there you go. What about favorite 80s TV series?
Oh, it's got to be Miami Vice.
Oh, heck yeah.
Call me Sonny Crockett.
Sonny Crockett, baby. And lastly, favorite 80s sports moment.
I'm going to go with favorite 80s sports moment I can remember. So I'm going to go Montana to Taylor with 36 seconds left in the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that was the 88.
That was the 88th Super Bowl
Yeah.
over the Cincinnati Bungles.
Yeah.
And that almost brings our show to a conclusion. But I have an update. It's the weekly Sam Hartman update.
Yes.
He is being elevated to the third emergency quarterback for the Washington Commanders. So there is a slimmer hope he might actually reach the football field this weekend.
Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. So, who do you have winning the World Series?
Man, I have a gigantic hole opening up at Dodger Stadium and swallowing both teams.
There you go.
Because nobody likes the Yankees and nobody likes the Dodgers.
What I want to ask everybody to do for us, because I've been getting a lot of DMs about the podcast, hit the subscribe button. Right?
Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. We are on iHeart Podcast. We are on Spotify. We are on Amazon. We are on Apple Podcasts. And we are on RSS feed and YouTube.
Yes.
And YouTube.
So make sure you subscribe and follow us. The Lucas and Lee Podcast. We're wrapping it up on a Friday. Yes.
See you guys next week.